Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Thursday to you all. Today we're going to be going over Tesla, NIO, and Lumen. We're going to be giving you the bull and the bear case for each of the stocks and my own personal opinion of where I think these stocks are going. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. So last time we left off Lumen was trading around $3.87. Since then, it's basically gone about a 18% haircut from the last time we spoke. I did mention that I did believe Lumen was heading much lower, that you weren't going to find support based on how the price action was kind of consolidating in this region for a rip up or a rip down, and how the stock has already behaved. Naturally, we would assume that it would probably be heading lower. Stock's breaking down. Where is the bleeding going to stop? Usually with these type of moves, you see a volume capitulation similar to how we've talked about previously Tesla had, where you just see this massive spike of volume and then you have a massive spike of volume coming back out where you find buyers, you find a bottom. I don't see that with Lumen here. There is literally no volume capitulation present here whatsoever. So we have not found a true bottom on Lumen, in my opinion. The bull case is pretty much non-existent, but there are some bullish indicators, but really you can have an indicator that's being bullish, but until price confirms it with volume, it's just a sense. It's just an indicator. An indicator can be wrong all the time. Price and volume are never wrong. Every indicator is based on price and volume. So therefore, if we just look at simple price and volume, we can tell where it's going. We see that we have these volume spikes here on Lumen where people are trying to catch the bottom and they're just getting stomped out. You had it on the earnings spike. You had it here on this doji candle right here. Definitely something to be on the lookout for. Whenever you have these candles of indecision that bulls are trying to get back into, they just get slammed back down right on the right candle. So if we zoom out to larger time frames, maybe we can see where Lumen is going or possibly get some hints to it for either bull or bear case. The first thing I notice is that I didn't notice before is that you had a bear flag sitting right here. You had a perfect, probably the most prime example of a bear flag forming. This is like perfect textbook bear flag. Like, it's perfectly straight, fits in 90 degrees. You can get more perfect than this. So if we show where it's going to fall out to, we get a price target of $2.59. Most likely Lumen is at least heading to $2.59, if not lower. So right now, if we go back to history, we are below the swing point here back in 1987 right here. So that was your swing point that you expected to hold, failed to hold. Now we're looking at where price discovery may find a bounce. So since we broke below that, and essentially if you start breaking below the 320, 317 area, which is this price consolidation right here, I definitely would see you coming back down to retest probably to the 256 to the area of 231. If we break the 317 area, then I definitely be looking to see price discovery back into the region of 257 all the way to 230. Now, why is that number important? Well, if we look at where our flag is telling us we're going, it's saying minimum 262. So I could see the 250 probably coming in with momentum, maybe a 2.4 bottom. That's kind of what I'm assuming, but really you have to see where price kind of bottoms. So you have a lot of price action down there that had a long consolidation period. So you really have to see where buyers are going to step in and where buyers are not going to step in. Now, if we send right through the twos, then Lumen's basically going to zero. At that point, you have so much momentum that it would be inevitable, in my opinion, that the stock would eventually declare bankruptcy because of such momentum. However, crazier things have happened. It's not a guarantee. It's just my personal thoughts on that. So now let's take a look at the bull case for Lumen, because we've been talking about the bear case for majority of this point. So the bull case you have here is a bullish divergence on the MACD. You're making higher lows with the MACD diverging. However, with the momentum the stock is traveling now, you could break this. You could break this. You are significantly oversold, and if we look at the weekly to maybe get some indication, your MACD has crossed over, being diverged, heading towards oversold. So there's definitely more momentum in the weekly time frame for sellers to continue to sell the company off. We probably would hit the reversal zone maybe at the 240 mark. That's why I'm really looking at as a price target for it. If we break the twos, then it's pretty much a waterfall all the way down. You are in this reversal zone, but you're not really respecting that area. You're just basically plowing through it, continuing lower. My thing would be is once we find a new buying opportunity, you're going to bounce sharply out of the zone, but it could honestly be a dead cat bounce with the momentum that you had here. You do have, again, like I said, the bullishness, you got the divergence going for you. You have RSI basically heading into oversold territory. So naturally, there's going to be trying people to catch the knife. That's the best way I can put it, but the 252 would definitely be my price target as an initiation for buyers. I wouldn't be looking to buy it here. Even if it has a short-term bounce here, I wouldn't be buying it at this point. I would like to see that price target complete. What are some of the bullish resistances that we want to see getting conquered? Basically, you want to start climbing these stairs right here of previous highs that you've made that now are your resistance points. So if you start advancing, breaking through these highs, pulling back, advancing, then I'd be looking at a more bullish case for Lumen. Do I think that's going to happen in a near-term future? I would say no. On top of not having a volume capitulation rally in the stock yet, I definitely would be looking for more downside. If you're in this company, you got to ask yourself a couple questions, and that is, if you were to hold this company to apparently zero, because that's the ultimate place it can go, all companies can go to zero, and Lumen's no exception to that. Are you willing to, one, lose everything you have in it? And number two, taking a look, if you're holding it for a loss right now, one, it can be offset other capital gains, so there's a positive possibly there. And number two, if you were to take that money that you have left or salvage that value in the company and then reinvest it into, let's say, a Google, a Microsoft, or something with a high growth, or even a dividend company, would you then make that money back over time? Most likely you would have growth there. What is going to cause Lumen to bounce? That's the question that you have to ask yourself, because if you look at this chart, it's just bearish. There is very little to no bullishness present on this chart. You have some indicators, but the second they break, and guess what? You're going to probably have the volume capitulation rally. So again, you haven't seen that massive spike on volume, and that is what concerns me the most, that this downside is going to continue. Let's see where we go from here. I think a lot of people that are in this stock need to self-reflect and maybe just cut your losses and move on to something else. I always say your losses can always get worse, but you can't salvage something from nothing. You can only salvage something if you have something left to sell. If Lumen goes to $1, liquidity would dry up so badly that trying to get out even a large position would be horrendous for the company. They could do a reverse split, but then you're still in the same situation that you're just giving people a higher price to short it from, and it really is very, very bearish. Next, we're going to cover NIO. So NIO reported earnings of a loss of 51 cents. The reported revenue was 2.33 billion with an estimated revenue of 7.03 billion. So a huge miss on revenue. So let's see what the company did during the day and after hours. If we look at NIO's chart to give us indications of how the company reacted based on the earnings, it had a horrible reaction. You sold off about 6.3% on the day from open, and you were down about 6% on the close. Post-market, you're basically at exactly where you closed, so no real movement there. If we look at the overall trend for NIO, it's to the downside. You are forming an M right here, which is very bearish. Usually these complete once you take out this level of $9. You just took that level out. Now, to get the acceleration that I'm going to see and talk about in a moment, you have to break probably the swing point here of $8.39. If we draw a Fibonacci retracement of this move to that swing point and back up here, going from the swing high here to there, this completes around $1.60. Secondly, just looking at the chart from a long-term perspective, similar to how we just talked about on Lumen, this company has a bear flag forming on it. Here's your flagpole, and your flag basically goes here. Just looking at this, you have already broken down this flag. You did have a false breakout here, which possibly could invalidate this flag, but seeing how the price basically consolidated in this region, if we redraw the flag slightly just to gain price action, that puts us right here, flagpole target here to about $1 in region. You know, no pattern is perfect, but it just indicates more bearishness ahead for NIO, especially having the harmonics, having a bear flag on the daily. And then if we look at the weekly, this company just ran up on insane evaluations and has basically sold off. Looking at this, it's basically a gigantic bubble that's forming here. You're below all the moving averages, which you guys know my opinion of the 200 weekly moving average. You break below that, it's basically lights out for you, or you have to get back above it to be bullish. There is so much resistance here that you're so far stretched away from all your moving averages to find support. Once you take out the swing point right here at $8.42, or $8 and to be exact 38 cents, you're basically going to start waterfalling. You're similarly probably going to have a volume capitulation on that run down. So breaking that $8.38, you're probably going to start forming volume capitulation, and then that's when you're really going to see the acceleration of selling. I don't see any bullishness in the company. They just had a horrendous miss on earnings. You had a bear flag forming here that kind of already told you where this company was going. You have a bear flag combined with an M. It's just bearish, guys. There's no bullishness in the company, and the charts are basically saying lower. They're not telling me that it's going higher. If the bulls defend this area, I would be shockingly surprised, because they've had plenty of opportunity to buy this region. So they're not excited to buy this point anymore, and they're basically seeing exhaustion. You had once, twice now the opportunity to buy this $9.50 level. You broke down below it. Now you're coming down to this area of $9. You failed to buy $9. The bulls didn't step in. So now, if they didn't step in at 9.59, why would they step in at 8.5, 8.3? It really doesn't make sense to me. You have a lot of gaps here on the daily, and usually these gaps get filled. So when you come back through this price discovery here, you're going to be starting to fill these gaps. You're already filling this gap here from the area of $8.68 all the way down to $7.89. Probably going to come back, break the swing point, and then start filling all these gaps coming back down towards the $1. You may have a bottoming around $3.66, just because this is where you had your parabolic move up. And just for all those that don't know the history of parabolic moves, they traditionally correct 68% of the way. So basically we draw this, 68% of the way would be at $14.03. So we're way past that. So this is really, really, really bearish. And I'm struggling to find any bullishness here, guys. You missed earnings, you're in bear flag, you're in an M. It's a struggle. Let's take a look what Lux Algo is telling us. So Lux Algo, you do have a strong low right here, which makes sense. That's where you found buyers before and had a very strong move up. However, MACD's crossed bearish. RSI is heading into super oversold territory. Oscillation hasn't bottomed. You could get a double bottom here. It truly is a possibility. I'm not denying. I just think the probability is very low, especially with the overall time frame telling me different things. Let's take a look at the weekly. Weekly is basically telling you, if you find a double bottom there, it's probably going to be a dead cat bounce. You have MACD crossing over on the weekly. RSI hasn't even gone bearish on the weekly. That's bad, guys. That means you have plenty of room to run down. And where you would find support on the weekly would probably be down at $1.38. So there is significant more room for NIO to run down there. And I wouldn't be surprised if this area of $8.38 finds a double bottom, dead cat bounces, comes up to resistance probably at the $9.38, and then heads lower. Now, if you run right through $8.38 and print a lower low, meaning $8.37, I would suspect that it would self-fulfill itself and be heading lower, probably similar to Lumen. You'd be falling right through this reversal zone. I don't suspect a bounce there. However, because you have so much overselling on the RSI, when you come down here, I really am expecting to see that bounce. But I don't expect that bounce to hold. I think it's going to be a dead cat bounce, and then you're going to have people trying to catch a falling knife thinking they've won the lottery, and then it's just going to crush them back right under. On top of the earnings that NIO reported doesn't incentivize buyers and incentivize sellers. You're definitely going to have more shorting interest. It's just bearish overall. There's plenty of companies better to invest your money in. And if you're in it at this point, it's one of those things that I personally be getting out. I would take the loss, take the capital gains loss. Don't try investing in the company again so you don't take an effect of a wash sale. And then just put your money in something that's better. You have a better chance of putting it in Amazon, Google, Apple, all the major Fortune 500 companies rather than this company here. Next, we're going to cover Tesla. Taking a look at Tesla, it had a massive volume capitulation rally off the lows. For all those that don't know what a volume capitulation rally is, if you zoom out and you see this massive spike on volume right here that I've been talking about today, definitely a volume capitulation where you just had everyone running for the exits and then buyers stepping in to buy it back up once it got down to max pain. So if we look here, Tesla is now post-market sitting at the key support level of this upper trend line. If you basically print a close tomorrow at below 194, 195, I'd definitely be seeing more downside for Tesla, probably coming back down to retest your 200 weekly moving average that's sitting at 171. If you find a bounce here, your next resistance point probably be the 210s, next 217, and probably tackling 200 daily moving average. Definitely something to be on the lookout for. Last night Tesla had its investor meeting, so definitely something to be on the lookout for of what was said in the meeting and the reaction to it, because remember, you can interpret news however you want. It's really how the stock reacts that determines where its price is going to go. Seeing this, I really do believe that you could possibly be having a massive inverted head and shoulders here. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. However, if you start trading below the swing point of $193, $194, that would probably invalidate this, and you'd be setting up a way bigger A to B, B to C pattern that would bring Tesla basically back down to $81.94. To confirm this pattern, you would have to trade below the $101 range, so it really would be self-fulfilling once you got down there, and really you didn't profit much off this move here. It'd be an interesting move to confirm it, but overall I do believe that how Tesla's reacting in pre-market and post-market last night, I definitely would see more downside. We have to see how the stock closes today to see what actually happens. If you get to break this trend line, like I said, next price target $170, and then if you break the 200 weekly, 50 daily moving average, probably won't hold because you got all these gaps down here and be price exploring down lower. So I'm going to let the chart speak for itself here, because I'm not going to try telling it what it's going to do. If you find a bounce today, that's going to confirm bullishness. If you break down, it's going to confirm bearishness. It's a very simple trade, very simple view on my opinion. You could be also forming possibly a cup and handle here, massive a cup with a handle, a sideways consolidation, depends on where you break out from there. Let's take a look at algo and see what it is telling us. So on the daily, MACD is trying to converge from bearish to bullish. RSI is still on the bullish side, not crossed over bearish yet. And if we take a look at the weekly, you still have divergence between the MACD and the RSI being in bullish territory, so you could see a continuation higher. You really have to see what Tesla's actually going to do based on the investors meeting. It would be a very, very interesting short opportunity if it starts breaking down, because you're going to come down with probably significant price momentum. If you're coming down with momentum, we could see some more price exploration lower. Daily, like I said, is trying to turn bullish, but you could just be faking out bulls here to try ripping it down lower, or you could be going up for a nice short squeeze. Really, it depends on if we hold that trend line or not today, and that's going to be the key factor I'm going to be looking for. If you break down, price target first bounce possibly at the 170 level, and that's where you would find that 200 weekly moving average, probably consolidate, digesting the moving average before hitting higher. Or if you break down completely on it, then definitely going to be very bearish on the company. So with that, guys, I'm going to conclude today's video. Thank you for watching. If you like this type of content, hit the like button down below. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. We do technical analysis videos on anything you guys request, so throw down the ticker symbol down below so we can do it. We usually do a wrap up on Friday of all the tickers that people request during the week, so stay tuned for that. And if you guys want to see more, just let us know kind of what type of content you want to see. We want to grow the channel for you. With that, hope you have a wonderful day and have a happy weekend if I don't see you on Friday.